Damn, this place is gross, Max gagged as he looked around at all the dust and the mold on the walls, floor, and furniture. Max, David scolded lightly. I'm with Max. This place smells like a barf puddle that someone left out in the sun, Nikki said, looking more than a bit green in the face. Tell me about it. Who died in here? Neil whined. Erin, however, said nothing. Her focus was on something that had been bothering her since the moment she had stepped foot in the castle. Though it was faint, she could clearly feel her hiraikots twitching, as if it was excited that she was here. But how can that be possible? As if it was excited. But how can that be possible? Erin asked herself. My boomerang bone is a weapon. It has no feelings. It was made from the bones of the dead monsters my great-grandmother slayed. It's not alive at all. Is it? Erin was so lost in thought that she almost didn't see the flash of red from the corridor that they were all passing by. Who's that? Erin asked and stopped in front of the corridor. Ginta and Akaku stopped dead in their tracks. Ayame, how many times do we have to tell you? You shouldn't be this close to the Lord's bedroom at this time. You know that, Ginta said, now facing the end of the corridor, where a little girl with thick fire-red pigtails, emerald green eyes, and fair Irish skin, wearing a pink kimono and was barefoot, stepped into view. I'm sorry, the little girl squeaked nervously. This is Lord Koga's little sister, Lady Ayame. She's 7 years old, Hakaku said. Without thinking, Erin approached the timid little girl and kneeled down to her height. Hello, Ayame. It's nice to meet you. Ayame stared at Erin for a few minutes, but her face then lit up with realization. You're Lady Erin of the White Rose Demon Slayer village, aren't you? She said rather than asked, excitement laced in her voice. Yes, I'm Erin, but I don't have a title or anything like that, the Slayer woman started, only to have Ayame cut her off. Big Brother's told me so much about you. Are you two going to get married like you both promised? She asked. What? Everyone in the room, other than Ayame and Erin and Kilala, shouted in utter shock, while Ginta and Akaku only cringed. You promised to marry this Koga guy? Nikki yelled. When was this? Neil demanded. Please tell us you're not fucking serious, Max shouted, outraged. Is he nice? David asked excitedly, making everyone turn to him. That's all you have to say, idiot? Max asked, face-palming. What? If Lord Koga and Erin like each other, there's no reason to stop, he started, only to have Erin cut him off. Shut up! She yelled at the top of her lungs, making everyone freeze while Hilala jolted awake on her partner's shoulder. Erin, Neil started, only to be cut off by his team leader. Just drop it, she demanded as she patted the startled-looking little Ayame on the head. Sorry about that. Could you tell me what your brother wants from me? She asked the little girl. To wear white and walk down the aisle, apparently, Max grumbled in a hushed tone. Erin gave him a sideways glare, making the boy shut up altogether. Satisfied with that, she turned back to Ayame. You did nothing wrong, Princess. Please, I need to know why your brother needs to see me. Ayame sighed. It all started 2 months ago. Our castle and the whole clan were being attacked by an army of different kinds of monsters. Everyone, including me and Koga's father, was killed. It was out of nowhere, so we had no time to prepare for battle. My brother, Ginta and Akaku and my brother, are the last members of the Okami clan, the last survivors. But there's more. Trying to defend our people, my brother was bitten by a werewolf. Ayame trailed off with tears in her eyes. Erin froze. She knew what that meant. Why she had been summoned here was now crystal clear to her. You wanted to see if my people had a cure for the werewolf venom that now runs through Lord Koga's veins, she said rather than asked. You've become smarter as you've grown more beautiful. A deep male voice trailed off from the shadows behind Ginta and Akaku, who both gasped in shock. Koga! They exclaimed. Erin sucked in a breath. She felt her hiraikots twitch again, this time even stronger than before. The young man standing before her and everyone else was about a year or two older than herself. He had long, thick black hair and a high ponytail, tan skin, a brown fur band tied around his forehead, was barefoot with 2 brown fur leg warmers around his lower legs. He wore a brown fur pelt around his waist, black Japanese armor on his chest and shoulders. On his right arm was a brown fur sleeve from his wrist to his elbow. And finally on his left side was a European sword with a red handle and a golden blade. But what stood out the most were his eyes, a dark sky blue color that Aaron could never forget. Those eyes. "It's been a long time, Aaron," Lord Koga said with a smile, his canine fangs showing themselves. He has been bitten by a werewolf," Aaron thought to herself, as she also noticed the brown, fluffy wolf tail on Koga's backside wagging ever so slightly. Lord Koga, I've heard of your situation, but I'm sorry to say, there is no known cure for werewolf venom among my people," Aaron said seriously, but traces of sadness and worry could be heard within her voice. Koga's face fell. "Then I have only one request now." "What would that be?" Aaron asked. Koga then looked to Ginta and Hikaku and then to Ayame. "You take my 2 men and my little sister back to your village for them to live." "No!" Ayame protested. "But Koga," Ginta trailed off. "We're not leaving you, man," Hikaku stated. Ayame then took the opportunity to run to her big brother and hug him around the waist. "Please don't leave us, big brother. I promise I'll be good. Just don't send us away," the little girl said in tears. Suddenly, Koga let out a growl and bowed his head, his hands shaking and turning into fists. "Oh no! Everyone run for it!" Hikaku shouted as Ginta pulled Ayame away from the snarling Koga. Max, Nikki, and Neil positioned their weapons, while Kilala growled fiercely on Aaron's shoulder. "You need to Koga started, only to have Aaron place Kilala on Nikki's shoulder and walk over to him calmly. "What you need is help," she trailed off as she then pulled out a small crystal clear gemstone, as clear as water, from under the armor plate of her right shoulder and placed it over the skin of Koga's neck. Immediately, Koga's breathing slowed and his fists loosened. "How did you do that?" Ginta breathed as he still held a squirming Ayame back from the scene. Aaron faced the others without removing the crystal from Koga's neck. "This is a gemstone that suppresses monster powers. It needs to be recharged of its magic time to time by a mage. It's no cure, but it's the best thing my people can offer to Lord Koga for now. Until we find a cure," the lead demon slayer trailed off. Everyone stared at her in confusion and disbelief. You mean... Hikaku started, but Aaron cut him off. "That's right. I'm going to help you find a cure for werewolf venom in Lord Koga's body." Everyone in the room stood speechless at the demon slayer's words. "Ha, you really haven't changed much since we were kids," Lord Koga observed quietly as he placed a hand over Aaron's hand, which was holding the gemstone to his neck. "Come with me," he said as he held the crystal onto his neck while taking Aaron's hand in his own, holding it by his side as he led her away from the group. "Where do you think you two are?" Max started, only to have David place a hand on his shoulder to stop him from following the two. "Let's let them talk for a bit. They seem to have a lot to discuss," the doctor clarified as Max simply shrugged himself away from his dad and crossed his arms.